welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel, and today I will be talking about underrated horror movies. In no particular order, I did not make this a top 5, a top 10, top 15. I just really wanted to make this a discussion type of video. I just really wanted to make this a discussion type of video. I just really what I wanted it to make this video. So one of the movies I do want to talk about is Slumber Party Massacre. Again, in no particular order, Slumber Party Massacre is one that I feel like is so underrated that nobody talks about. It's such a simple premise about these girls. They're like at the sleepover and this like killer escapes and he uses a drill. You know, he doesn't use a butcher knife. He doesn't use a meat cleaver or a chainsaw or any of that. He uses a drill. He uses a drill. And I love Slumber Party Massacre. You know, it's got some pretty decent kills. It's just a fun, entertaining, rewatchable horror movie. Just a fun 80s slasher that no one talks about. And supposedly we are getting a remake by Sci-Fi, which I hope it is good. And I hope they get the budget, you know, that they need for that movie. And I hope that remake brings people around to Slumber Party Massacre, because I love Slumber Party Massacre. I know there's a part 2. From what I remember about part 2, I didn't enjoy it as much, but I know there is a part 2. But Slumber Party Massacre, underrated in my opinion. The next one will be Sleepaway Camp. Now, I wasn't going to put Sleepaway Camp on here, so I feel like a lot of people are coming around to this movie now, but I still consider this movie underrated, just for the sole purpose of you don't hear a lot of people talking about it. You don't hear a lot of people just going into a conversation about this movie. Like, if you love camp slashers that are in the 80s or set in the 80s, you're going to love Sleepaway Camp. I love Sleepaway Camp. There's a whole franchise of these movies. I love the first Sleepaway Camp. I think I did a ranking of the films on the channel. I think I did. I feel like I did a ranking on them. If I haven't, then I will do one, because I love Sleepaway Camp, particularly the first one. I love Sleepaway Camp, and again, if you love slashers, particularly camp slashers, you're going to love Sleepaway Camp. A really interesting twist at the end. It's a very crazy twist. You just have to check that out for yourself. I have reviewed that movie before here on the channel, so go check out my review for Sleepaway Camp. The next one is a movie that I just finished watching and just finished doing a review on. Is Hatchet. Now my review may already be up for Hatchet, but Hatchet, I love Hatchet. I love the character Victor Crowley. I think the Hatchet franchise as a whole doesn't get talked about enough, particularly the first movie. I love Hatchet. Sure, it's over the top, but it works for this film. It works for what they're going for with this franchise. And particularly the first one, I think, is the best one. I'm not going to spoil too much, because I am planning to review all these movies and rank all of them, which I really haven't done on the channel, because I love the first Hatchet film. Now, the next one will be the original Hills Have Eyes. Yes, I consider the original Hills Have Eyes underrated. You know, even though I enjoy the remake a little bit more, which I also feel like is underrated, but we'll talk about that later. But I just feel like the original Hills Have Eyes is very underrated. No one really talks about it. Again, yes, I prefer the remake, but I enjoy the original Hills Have Eyes. I think it's a really good slasher that no one really talks about. I feel like more people need to talk about it. The next one is The Collector. I love The Collector. Again, if you haven't seen The Collector, you have to check out the film The Collector. To me, it's one of the most underrated movies, and I hope we still get that third one, but it's looking like it's probably canceled for numerous reasons. But I'm still holding on hope that we do get a third one. I love The Collector. I love that killer. I think he's so interesting, setting these traps, and a brief history with how The Collector got made. They was actually going to do a Saw prequel, but it got turned into The Collector. And what a movie. Like, if you haven't seen The Collector, really recommend you guys checking it out. I've reviewed it here on the channel plenty of times. The next one would be Orphan. I love Orphan. I think it has one of the best twists in horror, especially if you watch it for the first time. I've seen the movie I don't know how many times. I love Orphan, love that twist. It's very intense. It's a great horror thriller that not enough people talk about, and the movie is just so chilling and disturbing in a good way. Obviously, great cinematography, great acting, and just that slow burn, just that nature of you don't know where the story is going to go. I highly recommend Orphan. I highly recommend you guys putting that on your radar. The next one would be Jennifer's Body. I love Jennifer's Body. I think it's just a fun horror movie. I hear just like Sleepaway Camp. I was thinking, should I put this on my list or not? But I will, because even though more people's coming around to Jennifer's Body, I like Jennifer's Body. I just think it's a fun, dark, humored horror movie. I've always enjoyed Jennifer's Body. I think there's some stuff you can laugh at in the movie. It's just a fun, entertaining horror movie. The next one would be House of a Thousand Corpses. Yes, I consider House of a Thousand Corpses underrated, because as much as I love The Devil's Rejects, I think that's the best Rob Zombie movie, and I feel like that's the best one out of all three of these films. I still enjoy House of a Thousand Corpses. I think like the first all of them, I feel like the first, couple of minutes are some of the best, like with Captain Spaulding and all that. I love House of a Thousand Corpses. Even though I prefer The Devil's Rejects, I still love House of a Thousand Corpses. I feel like it's super underrated, in my personal opinion. The next one will be one that I've been talking about recently that maybe I should do another review on, is Stage Fright. I love Stage Fright. It's, Stage Fright is just a simple slasher about these people trying to do a play, and they're locked in with this killer, and he wears like a bird, like mascot type of head. It's a really interesting movie, and I think I haven't reviewed that movie since last year or 2019. So I think it's time to review that movie again, because more people need to know about Stage Fright. I love Stage Fright. The next one is a found footage film, yes, but I personally enjoy it. I think there are some good found footage movies, and one of those would be House That October Built. It's about to be October, so this should be on your list. House That October Built. Expect a review very soon for it. I love House That October Built. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting found footage film. I'm not going to spoil too much on it. Just know it's a found footage movie about these people. They're traveling haunt to haunt, like the little Universal Studios type of thing. Like they're traveling to those local haunts and they're going to them. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to get too much into it until I do my review on it, which I have reviewed it before, but that's been a while ago. The next one would be Ginger Snaps. I feel like Ginger Snaps is one of my personal favorite werewolf horror movies. I'll be honest with you, I'm not that big of a fan of werewolf horror movies. I'm not that big of a fan of that subgenre. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of that. Even though I kind of like The Howling, I'm still not a big fan of that subgenre. But Ginger Snaps, I like Ginger Snaps. The next one would be Trick or Treat. Now, again, just like Jennifer's Body and Sleepaway Camp, I was like, should I put this on my list? But I said yes, because even though, again, Trick or Treat, there's people coming around to this movie, people still don't talk about it enough, in my opinion. I hope we get a sequel to Trick or Treat. I feel like it would make sense to get a sequel. I mean, you walk into Spirit Halloween, and you see all kinds of Sam merchandise, and Sam is so beloved. Why not make a sequel to that? I love Trick or Treat. Again, if you haven't seen it, this would be the perfect time to see it. It's the Halloween season, so it's the perfect time to check this movie out if you haven't seen it, because it's really good. The character Sam is memorable, and, in my opinion, a new horror icon, which, I think would make an interesting video of, like, top 5 newest horror icons. So that was just part 1 of my underrated horror movies. Let me know if you've seen any of these. Again, I did put some lesser known ones on here, and I put some ones on here that are more known. I feel like House of a Thousand Corpses may be more known. Trick or Treat may be more known, but I feel like not enough people talk about them, or they're kind of put off by them. I want to put you on to these films, so check out House of Thousand Corpses, check out Sleepaway Camp. If I had to pick 3 movies for anybody to check out that's on this list if you haven't seen, I would say Slumber Party Massacre, Hatchet, and Orphan. Those are the 3 movies. You know, if I had to pick 3 of these movies from my list, those are the 3 that I would pick for anybody to check out if they haven't seen them. So yeah, that's my underrated horror movies. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and drop some of your underrated horror movies in the comments below. Again, like I said, I made this video as a discussion, so let's have a discussion about the movies I talked about and movies that you feel like are underrated. Drop them in the comments below. I'll catch you guys in the next video.